What's going on, guys? Welcome into SportsLink Exchange. This is our mock draft 1.0 with no trades. I'm Blake. This is my buddy Will. Played some high school baseball together. Been friends since we were kids. And we're just here to give you our insight on who's going to what team. This is not a guarantee. It's just like a range because, as I said, there's no trades. And obviously, one little trade can mess up this whole mock draft because it's going to change needs and orders. But I'm going to be picking the odd picks today. Will's going to be picking the even picks. And we are going to try and give you insight on who's going to go to what team. So with pick one, we have the Chicago Bears. This feels like the easiest pick in the whole draft. I've been a Justin Fields fan since he's been drafted, since he was back at Ohio State, even since he was back at Georgia. I don't know if any of you guys even remember that, but his pocket presence just hasn't really gotten any better. And instead of extending him and putting yourself in a hole, having to pay all that money, it just feels like the Bears are going to reset the quarterback clock here, go Caleb Williams, and it's rumored Justin Fields is either going to the Steelers, Raiders, or Falcons. I think it's like minus 120 right now. He goes to the Steelers, so that kind of feels like a lock. But yeah, Caleb Williams, pick one to the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, he's the next generational guy, right?
Yeah,
He's just the no-brainer here. We've seen no-brainers bust before. I'm not sure if Caleb Williams is that guy. I think if he can keep his off-the-field antics a little bit down, maybe not try to buy an NFL team or have ownership, let's just play, bud, and then
yeah.
then we'll get into that stuff after. So yeah, I mean, easy pick there. Moving on to the Washington Commanders. I'll just say this: they'll be the Redskins in my heart forever. Um, so this is a relatively easy pick for me. This is another quarterback that I think could really lead. Unfortunately for Howell, it hasn't really worked out. He's had the tools, he's had the weapons. It's still not flowing very smoothly. So with that being said, Drake May is going to the Commanders.
Drake May going to the Commanders. All right, here we are now. Pick three, New England Patriots. I know there's a lot of speculation they're going to go with the generational talent here, Marvin Harrison Jr. But we know when their new head coach got hired, he came out and said, we're going to go get the position with the most need. And everyone knows that means quarterback. And it really feels like with this wide receiver class being as deep as it is, they can go get a big dude like a Keon Coleman or a Troy Franklin early in the second round. So with that being said, and the other two guys off the board, we are going to go Jaden Daniels here, Heisman winner in the SEC, lots of upside. Lamar Jackson athleticism with honestly better pocket passing, better precision. So we're going to go Jaden Daniels to the Patriots and try and get him some weapons later on in this draft.
Wow, you really just pissed off a lot of teams
Yeah,
taking him that high.
yeah,
Wow, that's a serious curveball here. But I mean, and then again, he's a Heisman winner, great player. I think he did a lot with a little bit of a less talented LSU team. I don't think it was the offense that was the issue; it was the defense there. Um,
for sure.
so so yeah, Jaden Daniels, great player. Moving on to the Cardinals, dream scenario: Marvin Harrison Jr. Easy pick for the Cardinals there, replacing Rondell Moore if they lose him in free agency.
Cardinals are running to the podium to go grab Marvin Harrison. They don't care what
Yeah,
anyone's offering.
yeah, just like I did.
Yeah. Pick five, Chargers. Feels like a trade out spot. They have a lot of needs. Could go for a lot of draft capital if it's available, considering they have no money for free agency. Another team with no cap whatsoever. But this is no trades, and Chargers really feels like they need some protection for Justin Herbert. I know Brock Bowers an option, give him a receiving threat and protection, but Joe Alt's sitting here, really polished guy, dude who can come in day one, just impact, give Justin Herbert more protection than he's had his whole career. And I think Justin Herbert's a phenomenal player. And they can go after a receiver later in the draft. Like I said earlier, this is a very deep receiver class. And I think Joe Alt's just going to give the Chargers exactly what they need with a round one pick.
Yeah, no doubt. I think he's the most polished player in this entire draft
Yep.
as far as his position goes. He's going to step in and protect. Uh, that's his job, and he will. He's good. Now moving on to the Giants. Um, I don't think things are as bad as it may seem there in New York. I mean, maybe besides maybe the backup quarterback having a commercial with Papa John's, it's ridiculous. I won't even name him. It's ridiculous. So we look at needs. They need a quarterback. Um, the three best already off the board. With that sixth pick, we're going to get Daniel Jones some weapons. Daniel Jones, we're going to get him Malik Neighbors, stud out of LSU.
I mean, this is their best receiver prospect they're going to have since Odell. Going back to LSU to go pluck out another talent like that. We've seen what these LSU receivers have become. Odell, Jarvis Landry, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Really feels like Malik Neighbors is another one of those guys. And the Giants are going to love to have this guy on their team. Pick 7, Tennessee Titans. Joe Alt's gone. Really feels like he would have been a great fit next to Peter Skoronski. Could have gotten that offensive line built back up like the Tennessee Titans offensive line they're known for. With him gone, though, you kind of need to get Will Levis some weapons. Maybe get a Roma Dunze type of guy. But like I said, Titans value offensive line almost as highly as any team in the NFL. And with them not really being in a competitive spot right now, Olu Fashanu out of Penn State, he has the highest upside out of any tackle in this class. He just needs some development, and I think in Tennessee, he has a great option to get that development.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a guy who has a lot of talent. And obviously it depends on how these other picks go, but I think we could probably see him fall just a little bit, slightly maybe into the teens there.
Definitely
Not a
possible.
big deal. Yeah, not a big deal for him, but he's good. So I think the Titans get a good player there. Well, moving on to the to Falcons. Somebody please save my boy Kyle Pitts. Um, they need a quarterback so bad. Um, I think Desmond Ritter is not the answer. I think we saw last year that their defense is not the problem. Their
Nope.
defense was good. Offense was just well below par. And do I think it's because they don't have the weapons? I don't think so. I think it's because they don't got a quarterback. Um, I think you look at a guy who was from Cincinnati. He got one big game a year, really, and that was against UCF, and their defense was awful. Um, and sure they went and played Georgia in the bowl game, but I mean, how many they didn't put their chips on in that game. With that being said, I'm going to throw a massive curveball in here, um, and we're going to go with Michael Penix out of Washington.
Wow, Michael Penix Jr., great prospect. Injury concerns, age concerns, but we've seen him sling the deep ball. With all these weapons he's got down in Atlanta, with that defense, he's going to be a stud. And we've seen quarterbacks nowadays going to 40 years old, so you can call age a concern if you want, but realistically, he still has another 15 years of playing, so people aren't too worried about that anymore.
Yeah,
Chicago Bears, pick 9. We're seeing Brock Bowers kind of start to fall here, but we saw Cole Kmet kind of has been a stud out in Chicago. I'm not saying Cole Kmet's better than Brock Bowers by any means, but it's not like it's a position they really need to attack right now, whereas they can go get Caleb Williams, another receiver other than DJ Moore, or they can go bolster up that defense and have a dude next to Montez Sweat and just have that defense lock teams up. And I think that's what we're going to do here. It's really between Dallas Turner and Jared Verse, really the 1A and 1B of this class. And I'm a huge Jared Verse fan. I think he's going to fit in seamlessly next to Montez Sweat. Big power to speed type of guy. And he just bodies offensive linemen. He's going to force a double team. And he's going to dominate for that Bears front.
yeah. I mean, bolstering that defense will be really cool, especially if they can really get things going on offense somehow with Caleb Williams. That defensive line could be scary. I mean, they
Yep.
have another young guy, Gervon Dexter, who he definitely hasn't reached his ceiling. He's good. He'll develop a little bit more, and I think he'll give you a little bit more on the inside. But getting a pass rusher like that's huge. All right. So now we're to the Jets. With Aaron Rodgers going down, it really killed their year last year. He should be healthy this year with his, whatever his routine is, his rehab that's gone. I'm not sure what he does. Whatever he does seems to work. Um, they need a wide receiver, just to kind of, give Aaron Rodgers another young guy to bolster it up. However, he's got to be protected. Telius Fuaga out of Oregon State was really great for DJU there. So we're going to go Telius Fuaga to the Jets.
Yeah, they need that protection. Fuaga's a big dude. He's obviously got more experience than Olu, so he's going to come in right now and protect Aaron, which is exactly what they need.
Yep.
pick 11, Minnesota Vikings. They would have loved to have a guy like Jim Daniels fall into their lap. Also, I know they were looking into Penix, but they were looking at him more as a second round quarterback, and with him going this high, I don't even know if they'd take him here at 11, but with the Falcons being in the situation they're in, already having a good defense, kind of made a lot of sense. J.J. McCarthy, like Will said, I'm not a huge fan of him either. I know one NFL team at least in the NFC has J.J. McCarthy as a top 10 prospect. I've heard rumors that it could be the Vikings. For their sake, I really hope it's not. So J.J. McCarthy, definitely an option here. Another team that's not really in the market for Brock Bowers, as they already have T.J. Hawkinson. But their defense, if they re-sign Kirk, they're going to lose all three of their main edge rushers, Cam Bynum, DJ Wanham, and Danielle Hunter, because they're going to have no money. So if they re-sign Kirk and try and develop a second-round quarterback, I see Dallas Turner being the pick here because they need that help up front immediately, and Dallas Turner's a stud, so that would work.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think if Dave Portnoy were to see this, he would cancel us immediately with all this JJ McCarthy slander. Uh, but yeah, Dallas Turner's a stud. He rocked the SEC with those great O lines, and I mean, melted through him like a hot knife through butter. Simple as that.
Yep.
Yep. Here we go. So the Vikings, obviously, we're in a good spot. Now the Broncos are not. Um, the thing is they have Russell Wilson at quarterback. They've got a lot of crap going on. They paid Russell Wilson a lot of money. It's hard to see a situation where he doesn't step out there and take that first snap. But Mr. Coach Man don't like him no more. Therefore, I think there's a lot of guys who are really high on Bo Nix right now. And so I don't know if I see that world where Bo Nix goes, but if I were the Denver Broncos, I'm snagging Bo Nix.
Yeah, I mean, they already have offensive weapons. We saw Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, even Marvin Mims, who got drafted last year. They have the weapons. They need to throw a quarterback now. And Bo Nix, polished 6-year starter in college, kind of dude you can throw into the fire because he already has all the experience you would need. And a guy who's not afraid to take what's given. So if they want to just take away the deep ball all game, keep giving him checkdowns, Bo Nix can take that. And he also has the arm talent to make the deep throw if he needs to. It's just we didn't see it a ton because we had Troy Franklin wide open across the middle of the field every single game.
Yeah, Troy Franklin, another guy I think we'll be talking about here pretty soon.
Yep. So we got the Raiders here, pick 13. We have a couple guys, Brock Bowers, Rome Odunze, starting to fall down the board. But, I mean, the Raiders, they already have Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. We saw them draft a tight end last year, not really in the market for an offensive weapon. Aiden O'Connell doesn't really feel like the future, but like if you look at the options right now, does J.J. McCarthy feel like the future? Kind of similar type of arm talent, similar type of players. But we see a DB surprise us every year, go in the top 10, sometimes top 5, and we're just like, what the heck? We had nowhere near that on our draft board. And with the DB1 still on the board here, Terrion Arnold, I think he's going to go bolster that defense, and Terrion Arnold goes out here to the Raiders.
Over a guy like Cooper DeJean.
I like Terrion Arnold more. It feels like Cooper DeJean is more of a nickelback, can play safety. It feels more like he will be a safety at the NFL level. But, I mean, he's still a stud of a player for sure.
Okay. Sounds good. Alrighty. Now we're getting on. Who we got here? The Saints? Is that who we're rocking with here?
Yep.
Well, I don't see a world where they're in any kind of contention to win at all.
Nope.
At any point, for whatever reason, they stink. Just put it very simple. I think you go with. I mean, they really need a quarterback. I think Derek Carr's washed. He's no good no more.
Yep.
Just put that very simple. But you go with the best overall pick here. You go with the best talent. I know they need offensive line help. They need D-line help. But when a guy like this falls all the way down into your lap, you don't miss it. Brock Bowers, going to New Orleans.
Yep. I mean, feels like a guy who come in and help that offense immediately. The Colts and the Seahawks, both extremely frustrated right now because they would have snagged him up immediately. Both teams in need of a tight end, and this dude could have come in the future. But with him getting snagged, now the Colts are sitting here like, All right, well, we need defensive help. The two main edge rushers are gone, and like you said, Cooper DeJean, another stud who can play safety, can play defensive back. So we're going to go Cooper DeJean here, going to the Colts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they have a lot of the pieces on offense that they need to win and to be successful.
Yep.
But really locking up that defense, I think, will be crucial for them. I mean, they have Brents, who I think he really showed out last year, was really good. So I think their defense will be really really good with that. All right, the Seattle Seahawks. Um, there's no way around it. They really need offensive line help. Um, and so with that, uh, J.C. Latham out of Alabama.
J.C. Latham, stud dude right there for sure.
Yeah.
No, pick 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. This doesn't really feel very likely that Rome falls all the way down here, but with Calvin Ridley being owed a contract right now, and they're going to owe the Falcons their second round pick as well if they sign Calvin Ridley. Doesn't really feel like a dude who's worth a contract and a second round pick, especially after his production last year. And with Rome falling into your lap right here, who's a bigger, better, more polished Calvin Ridley right now without any like off the field concerns. Rome just falling into your lap, you can save the money and the pick, let Calvin Ridley walk, and let him go get that one-on-one potential. So Trevor Lawrence could just throw it up to Rome, and that feels like a seamless fit right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for our next pick, you got Cincinnati Bengals. I think in their absolute dream world, Brock Bowers falls all the way to Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
Could I see a world where it happens? Absolutely. I think it. But unfortunately, in this scenario here, not there. Um, with T. Higgins leaving, you got to look for some kind of replacement there. Some of the best receivers are off the board already. So for me right now, it's between Brian Thomas and Troy Franklin. I think for a better fit for the offense, as far as that deep threat goes, someone to be right next to Jamar Chase. I love the speed of Troy Franklin here at 18.
Troy Franklin, great prospect. Got some crazy hands too. He can go catch anything you throw at him. So him and Jamar Chase next to each other are going to be a lot of passing in that offense next year.
Yeah.
Pick 19, LA Rams. Feels like another team that really needs a DB. They just lost Raheem Morris, their defensive coordinator, to go coach the Falcons. So it didn't really feel like they had the personnel to have a good defense last year, but with the schemes Raheem was drawing up, they had a decent one. Feels like they kind of need help with the personnel now. They could go Byron Murphy here, pair him next to Aaron Donald, which could be a defense. But we saw what Quinion Mitchell did at the Senior Bowl. Feels like a dude out of a small school. Could be the next Sauce Gardner. Athletic freak, speedy freak. He sticks to you like glue. And having Quinion Mitchell go be the DB1 to go replace Jalen Ramsey out in LA feels like a great fit there.
Yeah. We see guys like that every year. Sometimes I know when people are watching the NFL, they're like, who is this guy? But I think if you go back and really watch his tape throughout the year, granted, crappy conference, lower level FBS stuff there, but he was dominant. He was good, and I think we'll see that translate well, that physicality into the NFL. Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that Mike Tomlin takes pride in just making the playoffs. But when are they going to take the next step? I don't think there's any players right here that will help them take that next step. But guys who can fill in and help lead to that next step. Their offense looks fine to me. Unfortunately, the quarterback situation really isn't there. But I think that goes for a lot of teams in the NFL right now.
Might be a Justin Fields suitor also. Justin Fields may be a Steeler next year.
Oh, absolutely. I could see them trading up for that
Yep.
if the Bears need some more picks or some kind of capital. However, I think they need O-line help. Again, here we are with O-line. O-line quarterbacks are weak in the league. I really like Amarius Mims out of Georgia. I think he's really great. But I also don't think he'll fit in great with the way their line is. I'm a huge fan of a guy out of NC State filling at linebacker, Peyton Wilson. I think he fits well with their scheme. I think he helps great in coverage. And I think he could be one of those guys that's like that guy. So Peyton Wilson, NC State.
Yeah, I mean, him next to TJ Watt, definitely going to be a scary defensive front next year.
Yeah.
And dream situation for the Dolphins. They're not going to think about it too much. They need interior offensive line bad. Jackson Powers Johnson kind of falls into their lap. They're going to go grab him, bolster up that O line. They had one of the best running games last year with Devon Achane and why am I blanking on his name? Shoot. Dude from the 49ers, but he had the most touchdowns in his career last year.
Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert. Dolphins running game. I keep thinking Raheem Morris because the new coach. So that keeps throwing me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Raheem Mostert, stud running game. They need that inside run help. So now they get a center who's going to be able to dominate up front. They obviously have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. This offense is going to be scary next year. And Tua with protection and a running game. Dolphins might be legit next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll get into a little bit of a quarterback ranking thing in another video relatively soon. I think Tua is a pretty good quarterback, and especially with the talent that they have on the outside, and just get him some protection. These guys are coming out wide open, and he didn't really have a whole lot of time whenever they were down last year. So yeah, great pick there. The Philadelphia Eagles, with Kelsey leaving, I think they probably would have liked to see Jackson Powers Johnson slip to them. I don't see a world where he does. So now it's, is Jalen Hurts that guy to help them take it to the next level? I think so. Their line is still in shape. Probably going to be looking for some kind of replacements because Lane Johnson, in all reality, he's probably at the tail end of his career. I like their defense still. Defense is still really good and still relatively young. However, could we get another guy to bolster the inside? Absolutely. Byron Murphy out of Texas.
Jeez, Eagles love going with their defensive line. It just feels like a great pick for them. They love having multiple dudes that could sub in and out, have a bunch of different packages on defense. And Byron Murphy, another dude you can throw in. Jalen Carter, just have a bunch of options out there.
Yeah, great scheme fit there too. So
the Texans have a lot of options here. Still some studs on the board. Latu could be an option for them here. Jazon Newton, he's a stud. But it really feels like getting that third wide receiver to have next to Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Just have C.J. Stroud just go out there and dominate. So with that being said, we're going to have Keon Coleman go to the Texans here. Keon Coleman on the opposite side of Nico Collins, and then just having Tank Dell right in the slot in the middle. This is a disgusting receiver core now. Two of them still on rookie contracts. Nico Collins, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. And I think C.J. Stroud is going to love this fit. He's going to have a dude who can go up and get their one-on-one balls along with deep threats. And Texans offense is going to be nasty next year.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Texans. I'm surprised you took him over Brian Thomas there. Because Brian Thomas, I think he gets overshadowed a little bit by these other guys. But, I mean, he was a huge reason that Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. Keon Coleman, obviously a huge piece for the Seminoles there last year. Unfortunately, there at the end, what happened to Jordan Travis was pretty sad and really left no quarterback to throw him the ball.
Yep.
But yeah, a great pick for the Texans. C.J. Stroud's going to have a big year.
For sure.
Now, the other team, all right, let's go over to Dallas. What can I really say about Dallas? All the talent for absolutely nothing because of their owner, Jerry Jones, who is awful and tries to control everything. He's like the worst controlling boyfriend ever for all these guys, the coaches and everything. It's terrible. However, people say they're America's team, so we'll go ahead and pick for them. I mean, their defense looked really good. Obviously, their corners are good. So why not? Let's add another weapon to Dallas, and we'll go with Brian Thomas just because he slipped to us.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how much more Brandon Cooks has in the tank. He's definitely older. I mean, he's had so many 1,000-yard receiving seasons, but now you have another guy who can go in, give Dak Prescott some help. Definitely a great fit. Pick 25, Green Bay Packers. They need offensive line help. They need defensive back help. Nate Wiggins has fallen far enough. Like, if he wasn't here, they'd probably go after a dude like Amarius Mims or Troy Fautanu. But Nate Wiggins still being on the board. Go plug him in next to Jair Alexander. And Packers, one of the best young teams in the NFL. And give them another young piece to work with, especially one that's falling. Go grab best available. I think the Packers are just going to keep getting better and better every year.
Yep. And then we slide down to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a big boy on the inside that I think could be great for any defense. He's still there. The big board has him at 20. He's really separated himself from the Illinois image of not being very good. Jerzon Newton to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Johnny Newton going to the Bucks. I mean, that defensive line was already good. It's always been good. Just keep adding pieces, and it's going to help out a lot. So, pick 4 for the Cardinals. They'd already gotten Marvin Harrison Jr. Dream situation for them. Kyler Murray gets Marvin Harrison Jr. They got Paris Johnson last year, who's going to protect on one side. Defense kind of had some question marks around them. Jonathan Gannon, I think one of the best young coaches in the NFL. We saw what happened last year when he actually had any sort of pieces. Kept the games close, won some games with Josh Dobbs. Really looked good once Kyler Murray came back. Kyler Murray already got his weapon in the first round, late first round pick right here. Leatu Latu. Jonathan Gannon's going to love this guy right here. He's going to go get after the quarterback, and he's going to have some great schemes for him. And Cardinals just getting better on both sides of the ball in the first round. Really feels like a great fit for them.
100%. Great pick. On to Buffalo. They were really close to finally breaking through last year. Unfortunately, they didn't. With Gabe Davis possibly leaving to free agency, I think wide receiver is a big a hole they need to fill. I think they do it in free agency as opposed to the draft here. However, this wide receiver class is pretty deep. And so I think we go with kind of a sleeper pick here, Ladd McConkey. I think he could be a guy to step in and get open right away.
Yeah, they definitely need wide receiver help, and him pairing up with Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks. I mean, it's really just a seamless fit for them. And that offense is just going to keep rolling like they do every year.
Yeah, for sure.
Pick 29, Detroit Lions. They need some help at DB. They were a pretty big pass funnel team last year. And defensive line, but most of the big guys on the D line have been picked over now. Could also go for interior offensive linemen. I know Graham Barton played tackle at Duke, but he's going to transition seamlessly to a guard or maybe even a center. So for this pick here, it's either between Graham Barton or Ennis Rakestraw Jr. I know people are going to give me slander. Oh, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Listen, he's a dude who takes plays off. Dan Campbell is not going to mess with that at all. He's a very high-energy, high-focus coach who loves people who love the game just as much as him. Kool-Aid feels like he cares more about stuff off the field than he does on the field. So with that being said, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. going to go help that pass defense out in Detroit.
Yep. On to the Ravens. I think there's plenty of wide receivers in the later rounds that could step in and help and do things of that nature. I think their offense is relatively okay. I think they can survive with waiting for a wide receiver. But there's a pass rusher here that I think if you can snag him, you do. I'm a big fan of him. Chop Robinson out of Penn State. He's gonna get to the quarterback. Simple as that. They have Jadeveon Clowney there. I think they kind of shift him to like a linebacker spot. And he had a decent year, but Chop Robinson, I think the ceiling is just much higher. I'm gonna go with Chop Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, he's huge. Ravens defense was nasty last year. It's going to be a great fit. 49ers, they need tackle help bad. They could also go for DB because they're pass funnel. We don't really know what's going to go on with the whole Brandon Ayuk situation. If he leaves, they're going to need wide receiver too. But we've seen the 49ers finagle their way through trades and later in the draft plenty of times. And with this wide receiver class being deep, I don't think they're going to address that in the first round, especially with what they have on offense right now. So right here for this pick, it's in between Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton, and they could also go Kool-Aid McKinstry. But it feels like Amarius Mims would have been a top 5, top 10 pick next year. Came out a year early. Could be a great developmental guy, especially for a team like the 49ers. But they need help right now. Tyler Guyton, great guy. Super fast for offensive linemen. Great at going through run schemes where he has to shift across the offensive line. Can do a lot of different things, and he's going to be the type of guy who can fit in right now, doesn't need a ton of development. So we have Tyler Guyton here going pick 31 to the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, great player. The 49ers were so close last year. I mean, I was sitting there watching the game, and it came down to that last play, and I was like, what are the Chiefs doing? I was like, why are they taking it down to the last play when they could just hit a field goal, or take a shot and have time for that field goal? But damn, they let their balls hang. Uh, but speaking of the Chiefs got the next pick. I think their offense could have been better last year with some more receivers. Rashid Rice is very good. Kadarius Toney really just shot himself in the foot. He's a heck of a talent, but he just couldn't keep his mouth shut, unfortunately.
Nope.
So I think you kind of look for a little bit of some bolstering. Like we've said many times, this is such a deep receiver class. And in my opinion, Xavier Worthy is going to go to the Chiefs.
Wow. Xavier Worthy over A.D. Mitchell, who's still on the board. I mean, he's a great fit. A.D. Mitchell kind of has the size that they need, but like we've seen with Mahomes before, he doesn't really need physical attributes. He makes all of his teammates better, and with Xavier Worthy being the type of speedy player he is, I think Mahomes is going to make him the best possible version of himself.
Absolutely.
So with that being
Hey,
said, this is the mock draft right here, picks 1 through 32. Let us know down
hey,
in the
what?
comments.
I got one more update for us.
All right, what's up?
College football. College football. All FBS teams will be in the game.
Oh yeah,
Big update this morning.
FSU's winning 15 natties. But yeah,
Oh,
let us know in the comments below if you guys have anything you would change in this draft. Make sure to like, subscribe on the video, and we're going to be trying to come out with at least one of these a week along with some other content for you guys. So go ahead and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Thanks, guys.